In this video, I will show you how to solve literal equations, and what I want to focus on is formulas and functions. So first I want to read this top part to you. It says, a literal equation is an equation where variables represent known values. Think of equations like distance equals rate times time. That's a very popular one. Or that area of a rectangle is equal to length times width. Now, these literal equations allow us to represent things like distance, time, interest, and slope as variables in an equation. So using variables instead of words can be a real time saver. So formulas are written as those literal equations. So your goal is to undo letters, and in order to do that, you need to use inverse operations. And so here's my first couple examples here. It says in number 1, if I'm going to solve for b, my inverse operation would be to get rid of the a by subtracting it on both sides of the equation. Now when I do that, I'd be left with b is equal to c minus a. Now I can't combine those because they are not like terms. So that's it, you leave it. For the next one, if I'm going to solve for the letter k, I need to undo the letter p by, again, subtracting that to the other side. But in this case, not like this one, I have negative k is equal to an m minus p. Now to get rid of this negative k, I need to divide everything by -1. So all the signs become opposite. So now k becomes positive, m becomes negative, and p becomes positive. For the last one, my operation that's going on here is multiplication. So to undo that, I would divide by the number 2 to get my x term all alone. So my 2 goes away, and I'm left with y divided by 2. Now in example 2, it says, use the formula for the area of a rectangle. So area is equal to length times width. Find a formula for w. So find a formula for the width in terms of area and length. So to solve for the width, you need to have w be alone and positive. So like this example, I didn't want to solve for negative k, I wanted positive k. So if area is equal to length times width, to do my inverse operation of multiplication, I'm going to use division. So I'm going to divide by the dimension I don't want. So if I want w alone, I want the L moved to the other side. So now my width is equal to area divided by length. In the third example, we use probably one of the hardest ones you could have, which would be converting from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So different places in the world just measure temperatures differently. So Fahrenheit for F and C, Celsius, for that way of measuring the degree. Now, take a look. If I'm going to solve for the letter F inside here, the first thing I need to do is get rid of this fraction in the front. So I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal on both sides to get rid of that fraction. So when I do that now, I will have F minus 32 is equal to 9/5 C. Now if I'm solving for F, I want to undo that subtraction of my negative 32, and I'm going to add 32 to both sides. And when I do that, I have my Fahrenheit is equal to 9/5 of the Celsius degree, plus 32 would be my conversion. Okay, here are a couple more practice problems. Let's say you have more than a couple terms multiplied together. Well, that's okay. These 3 terms, length, width, and height for volume, if I want to solve for the width, I just need to get rid of the 2 dimensions I don't need. So still, the operation is multiplication. To undo that would be division. So I'm going to divide by the length and the height on both sides. So now I have volume divided by length times height would equal my width. Now just make sure that those both stay in the denominator So when you divide, be careful how you put that in the calculator. Okay, for the next one, if I am solving for the letter R, I need to get rid of the half and the capital letter B. So how I'm going to do that is first by multiplying by the reciprocal, or 2 over 1. If I multiply by 2, I'm going to get rid of that half. So I have 2G is equal to B times R. Now if I'm solving for R, I'm going to get rid of the letter B by dividing by B. So since the operation here is multiplication, I'm going to divide, and now I have 2G divided by B is equal to R. Okay, I have one more on this page. A quarter xy is equal to z. Again, to get rid of the coefficient so I can get that letter y alone, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, or 4 over 1. Well, 4 over 1 is the same as 4. So 4z is equal to x times y. Now if I want y all alone, I'm going to divide both sides by x. So here I have, for my answer, 4 times z divided by x is solved for now the letter y. So notice how in each of your equations you have pre-solved a letter, and what you're doing is solving for a different letter.